Hello there. Coming up to 7:30, you're watching Breakfast Today with Sally Nugent and John Kay. Thank you for joining us.
Lylas Story was 2 years old when she was taken to her GP, and her parents were told she had acute tonsillitis. Less than 24 hours later, she died. Lyla actually had undiagnosed type 1 diabetes.
Well, her family are now campaigning for better education and awareness, and they're also calling for new legislation on mandatory testing, known as Lylas Law. And we're delighted to have Lyla's dad, John, here with us on the sofa. Good morning to you.
Morning to you both.
I know you're working so hard on this. How are things? How are you all coping?
Well, it's 6 months yesterday since Lyla passed. We're very up and down. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you so much for breaking the story about Lyla back in September, but there is something I want to point out in relation to what NHS England said. They said that type 1 diabetes is uncommon in young children. That's not true. Most cases are between 6 months and 5 years old, new cases. And 26% of people across the board are diagnosed in a state of diabetic ketoacidosis. However, in under 5s, that is between 38% and 45%. So there are children around the country being strapped to tables, desperately trying to find a vein to put a cannula in. This has to stop. This has to stop.
When you look back now, what could have been done differently for Lyla? What would have made the difference?
A finger prick. The finger prick test. You can take urine samples, which is the warning, but a finger prick gives you the confirmation. And had she had that finger prick, she would be alive today, as would many of us, because over 10 children a year in the UK die from undiagnosed type 1 diabetes, and it's just got to stop.
And it's that figure that is driving you in all the work you're doing at the moment. Just tell people how you are raising awareness, not just with our viewers and the public, but also within the medical profession.
So far, I'm about 5,000 emails into emailing GPs across the United Kingdom, basically saying, have you got blood glucose monitoring kits? Have you got urine detection kits? And are you displaying these signs of the 4 Ts? Have you displaying these posters?
The 4 Ts, just explain, because that's crucial, isn't it?
Toileting, so you go into the toilet more. In babies and toddlers, you may notice a lot more nappies. It's also critical that if they're having wet nappies and they're peeing more, check the pee, smell it, because if it smells like popcorn or sugar puffs, that's a sign. Then there's also thirsty, drinking a lot more. Now, Lyla was asking for water. She was 2 years old. What 2-year-old asks for water? And then you get, so we've got toileting, thirsty, tiredness, so we've got a lot of lethargy going on, and thinning. So once those 4 things manifest, every minute matters, which is why it's critical that doctors are getting it right in primary care, because a simple finger prick would give them a better course of diabetes management than being diagnosed in critical care, where you can have organ failure, you can have sight loss. The emotional impact is palpable amongst families and friends and everything, so we need to get this sorted, we really do.
I know already this morning, just here on the programme, we've already had a huge response to your story. I just wonder, what has the public response been like for you? What sort of stories are you hearing?
If I give you a snapshot of the stories I receive, the GPs are turning them away with, oh, it's just a virus, oh, it's just tonsillitis. One doctor said to their child's parent, you needed to lose weight anyway. One adult was sent home and ordered to gargle Corsadil. 12 hours later, she was in DKA in hospital.
That's because of, obviously, throat problems.
Because she was displaying like nail varnish remover breath, and that is a telltale sign. It's not in all people, but you can display it through breath. So it's like pear drops, anything from pear drops to nail varnish remover smell. So they thought, oh, you've just got bad breath and sent her home. But I'd also like to say, I mean, I've had over 300 emails so far and thousands of comments online, and I must say that the type 1 community, type 1 diabetes community, are an absolutely wonderful, fierce set of warriors, and I'm so, so proud of them.
Got a message here from Danielle, who's in Kent, and said exactly the same thing happened. She took her little boy to the doctors on a Friday afternoon, diagnosed with tonsillitis, as Lyla was. Fortunately, he survived. It was picked up just in time, but no urine or fingerprint test offered at the time. He got really, really sick. And I guess the thing is, when kids are that young, they can't explain what's going on themselves, can they? It's up
Can't
to...
articulate, yeah, exactly. And this is why Lylas Law is so important. It's if a child is displaying any one of the 4 Ts, because if you look at things like fast for stroke, if you walk into a surgery and they're displaying any one of them signs, they get to hospital. Yeah. Now, in a young child, if they're displaying any one of them 4 Ts, rule it out. If they've not got diabetes, give them a lollipop. If they have got diabetes but they're in a hypo, give them the lollipop. You know, so it's critically important to go straight to the top, rule it out, and work your way down until they find the root cause of the problem.
And how important is educating parents at this point?
Well, this is why I've been sending 4Ts posters around, because it's for public display, so that people are aware of the 4Ts. Type 1 is rising in people, and it really, really needs to be addressed. Parents need to realise as well that type 1, it doesn't strictly run in families. Over 85% of people in the UK newly diagnosed are brand new to the condition with no family history whatsoever. Type 1 diabetes does not discriminate. It doesn't care about your ethnicity. It doesn't care about your age. It doesn't care about whether you're healthy or unhealthy. If it wants you, it'll get you. So it's critical to be aware of the signs, and I am campaigning to try and get type 1 diabetes awareness in the Red Book, which is getting digitised soon, so there's no excuses there to put it in.
The Red Book the parents get when the baby's born.
The
so
health
they've
visitors,
got the
yeah.
information right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
You talked about the phenomenal work that you've already done. We should tell people at home that you've been nominated for a People's Award, haven't you, at the QIC Awards for the by the diabetes healthcare community. What does that mean to you?
I'm honoured, because if I win this award, then what will happen is Lyla's story will go across all the NHS bulletins in the country, it will go into medical journals, it's got potential to go worldwide. But I ain't in it for the accolades, I'm in it to safeguard children going forward. But I'm so honoured to be even thought of in that respect. So thank you for whoever put me forward. Thank you so much for nominating me.
I've had this from the NHS. NHS England have given us a response to the story, obviously, and they've said this, it's an important message. If a parent or carer believe their child is experiencing symptoms of type 1 diabetes, such as thirst, frequent urination, excessive tiredness and unexplained weight loss, they should seek urgent medical assistance. And that essentially is the message that you are desperate for people to hear, isn't it?
Yeah. If I can quickly point out that apparently GPs in med school, when they're at med school, they only spend 15 minutes on the subject of type 1 diabetes. So if they're not getting it right, how can the public get it right? You know, more needs to be done amongst healthcare professionals as well as public awareness too. If I may as well, if you Google, other internet providers are available, but if you search Lylas Law, it tells you exactly what Lylas Law stands for, what it's about, and it sends you a link to a petition. Now, the petition, don't be deceived by the wording, it is to make sure that children are tested at the point of contact when they're displaying signs of the 4 Ts. If I could plead to everybody, as I've said before, it does not discriminate. If you don't want to sign the petition for you, do it for your father, do it for do it for your grandmother, do it for your kids, do it for your friends, do it for your grandkids. And most of all, do it for Lyla and over 10 people a year that die from going undiagnosed, because this has to stop.
John, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure there'll be mums and dads and grandparents watching
Thank you,
right
John.
now who are so grateful for the
Thank
work
you.
you're doing, the awareness you're raising. Thank you so much. All the
Thank you
best.
so much.
Thank you.